What's going on, guys? And today I'm doing a video about my wish list for NBA 2K17. I feel like at this point it is a good time to talk about it in terms of what I want to see for next year. We are getting towards the time where the old 2K dies out, and that's usually around the June to July area, and the game dies out. And around August you get a little bit of a bump back, mainly because of the excitement for the new game. So right now, why not talk about some features, some things I like, some things I didn't like about 2K16. I did a video earlier where I kind of ripped on 2K16, as it does have a decent amount of issues, but anyways, let's get started. What I'm going to do is, if you're operating the start menu for 2K, I'm going through everything there is available, or at least the stuff that matters. So a lot of the options screen I'm not going to talk about, and talk about the good, the bad, and what we want to see for next year, or at least what I want to see. First off, 2K TV. To be completely honest, I never watched this. I watched it maybe last year, I think, because sometimes it would give out VC, but besides that, it's pointless. However, I can't speak for everyone, and some people might like it, so I mean, you can keep it in there. I know the person who runs it, her name is Rachel. Keep her happy. Some people like it. I think it's sometimes cool, and that's how 2K is able to branch out and network with a lot of NBA players. So even though I don't like it personally, at least that much, I think it's still a pretty good idea and should keep it in there. Moving on next to Play Now. This contains a lot of the gameplay, but I'm going to touch on gameplay throughout the entire episode, I guess I can call it, or me talking about this. I enjoy all the features right now. There's Play Now, NBA Today, which are pretty much similar, the same thing. Play Now Online, Blacktop, All-Star Team Up, and then Play with Friends. In terms of Play Now, NBA Today, and Play with Friends are all pretty much the same thing. And I think that's all doing pretty well in terms of how it runs. I like the settings for it. The settings feel fine. And of course, there are some things that don't work too well. But I mean, for the most part, I enjoy it. In terms of Play Now Online, I like how they moved it this year, where you have to pick the team before you get in. Where you wouldn't join a game and you'd end up backing out 40 times in a row because someone's choosing the Cavs or the Warriors. I like it a lot more. And the whole tiers and stuff, that is a great idea. It really incentivizes you to stop using the best players all the time. Or the best teams, my bad. And I thought it was a really good idea, and it worked out pretty well. It actually made me want to Play Now Online a lot more. But my Wi-Fi recently has just been terrible, so I can't really play online that much. But I do like the idea, and overall, Play Now Online is a really, really good idea. In terms of Blacktop, I barely play a Blacktop. It's for me only trying out players or trying out jump shots and stuff. More people might like it, but I feel like Blacktop's more fun online versus other people. And so by playing with yourself, it's not the greatest. I would kind of hope that they make an online Blacktop. It's a little bit more fun. Maybe someone will mention that there's a way to do it. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I don't know. It's kind of a pass. Now for All-Star Team Up, I like it a lot. I just wish that they would find a way to fix it where one guy won't ball hog, because it seems to be whoever gets the point guard spot first always gets the ball, and it just doesn't become fun for others. So I wish that there was a way they could fix the ball hogging issue in terms of Team Up, but I do like it a lot more. I do wish that there was a way that you can do, besides Play with Friends, you can choose teams, or you get thrown onto a team. I believe 2K13 had this, where for All-Star Team Up you would get a team and you would go up against another team, and they were similarly matched. You wouldn't get like a all-time team where it is now versus like the Sixers, but you might get like the Miami Heat versus, I don't know, the Hornets, or maybe the Pacers. So maybe even though the Heat are a little bit better, it still depends on skill. So I wish that they can add a little bit more to Team Up, but besides that, it's very fun. For the most part, when I played it, I liked it because a lot of people just rage quit early on, so if you stick a little bit longer, you're almost guaranteed to get a really fun game. Moving on to my career, and I'm going to tie this into my park and 2K Pro-Am all together. I gotta say, my career has not been fun recently. I don't know if I really made a video talking about it. I know I made a couple videos about my player in terms of my career, but I never played it really. I just feel now, I mean, it's no fault of their own, but 2K made it solely based on them making the most money through VC. And I'm not even going to say that's the absolute worst idea for them, because of course you want to make the most money. However, it's just not as fun anymore in terms of what I used to like it as. I still find 2K11 as the best in my career there was, where it was very, very, very minimally story based. I mean, you had some intro. You had the little guy. I don't know if he had a name. I forgot him. But there was a guy in the corner who would narrate you before key games or during the draft combine and stuff. And maybe I'll do a full video just on what I wish my career can be again, because that one was very fun. At times it felt like you were kind of just grinding, but it all was kind of worth it, and I liked playing a lot more. The whole Spike Lee joint, that thing just completely fell on its face entirely. I know Spike tried really hard on it, but it just didn't seem to work as well as it really should have. Where they tried really hard for the first season, and then I believe the second season, like, you signed a contract, and then the story was over, and nothing else came from it. And the story wasn't good at all, I gotta say. Like, it was nothing really great. Spoiler alert, Vic Van Leer dies. Like, everyone predicted that pretty early on, because a lot of my friends were all playing it. One of them was doing my career first. I was doing my team first, and I was watching him, and then he was like, yeah, I just finished my career. And I was like, oh, did Vic die? And he's like, how'd you know? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Anyways, as I keep on rambling, I just felt like it wasn't the best in terms of the story mode. I kind of wish that they went to a more simplistic my career, where you would just pretty much it was centered around you playing games instead of you outside of basketball, where you're learning about the family and stuff. I think it's a good idea, but 2K really shouldn't focus on that right now. They should really focus on gameplay, what they were good at in like 2K11, and go back to that method. Of course, I do like the other things, like connecting with people, the practice, and the endorsements. That's something that I do like they can do outside, because it gets you a lot more VC, and it just makes it feel more authentic. I feel like that part is the good part about building the story around your player, but not forcing him to do all this stuff. I do like the idea of starting from high school all the way up, but I wish that they tied that into the 2K11 method, where you play high school 3 games, college like 3 to 5 games. I wish you could actually have an option to stay for more than just your freshman year, but whatever. Then after that, you have the draft combine, which was like 3 or 4 games. So you do summer league, which is like 3 to 5 games. I don't remember off the top of my head. And then you go and play in the NBA. It's a lot of a setup, but it's really worth it, and it's pretty fun to do. You get a lot of VC, or back then I forgot what it was called, like my player points, and I liked it a lot more back then. I feel like that's the best way to go. And this whole story mode, the whole narrative they tried to push this year with the story, really wasn't working. So if they could tie those two together, it'd be great. Of course, I mentioned this before, I believe. I wish that they would add a D-League or EuroLeague aspect into it, because in 2K11, I keep on mentioning that, but I feel like that's one of the best 2K games ever in terms of the features, except it's missing my team, which is one of my favorite things ever for 2K, where if you weren't good enough, they send you to the D-League, and you have to stay there until you proved you can make it to the NBA level. I wish that they would do that. And especially considering now 2K, I don't know if they're getting licensing for EuroLeague teams, if they're using them. I wish there was an option, say that you were only getting like 5 minutes off the bench every game. You could say, you know what, screw this, I'm going to Europe. And you play in Europe for maybe a season, half a season, then you come back. I feel like that'd be really, really fun to do. So yeah, all that would be really great. And I feel like it'd be a much better thing to improve 2K, and I would enjoy a lot more. Now, for my park and Pro-Am, I haven't played Pro-Am at all, and I barely played my park, mainly because of my connection issues. So it's not 100% against them, but I know they fixed a little bit about the waiting, where my park previously was terrible, but they really need to figure a way to make it where it's a lot less waiting. I know back in 2K11, I keep on mentioning that, sorry about that, there was a blacktop mode, which is similar to my park, but what would happen would be, it was 3-on-3, and so what you would do is you would be playing the game, whatnot, and you'd say, oh, I want to go play blacktop, and then it would just bring you to what's now like for playing out online. It'd give you like a little timer, it'd be like 20 seconds most of the time. Then they'd match you with 2 other guys on your team and 3 people on the other team. And then what happens if anyone drops down, instead of letting the CPU run wild, I believe what they do is that they would substitute in a actual NBA player who wasn't that good. But it was someone like, at that time it was always like Mike Dunleavy, who was like a decent, like maybe starter or like a 6th man, so like a high 70 overall, nothing great, but something decent in there. I wish that they would do something like that, because the waiting for 2K, my park, is crazy, and I can't stand it. You know, guys, I'm gonna skip the rest of my career, and I think I'll make a whole video on it later on about my career and get more in depth about it. So anyways, let's keep on going. Now I'm going to my GM. I haven't played it too much, but a lot of people like it. I had a little series going for about 3 or 4 episodes, but then I had a lot of issues uploading because sometimes my audio would cut out when I was audio recording, and it was just really annoying. But my GM is still pretty fun. I enjoyed it while it was. I don't know too much about it, so you guys can talk about it down in the comments. Tell me what you liked, didn't like, because I don't have a lot of experience with it. Now I'm moving on to the thing I do the most, and it's my team. Now I'm going to go through absolutely everything in my team, going through the menus. First things first, Gauntlet. I think Gauntlet was a good idea. There are some things about it that are terrible, such as the gameplay is pretty bad at times, where it is very unbalanced. That's what I made the video off of, whereas one time I had, I believe, the Diamond Dr. J, a really good Amethyst, and the MVP Steph Curry. Not the new 99 overall, the 94 overall, and I got like blown out, or I barely won. And it was just like, the gameplay is very hard in Blacktop in terms of Gauntlet. But the thing about Gauntlet, I like it a lot, where it's a huge grind but pays off because you can get the Clyde Drexler card, which I have, and I like him a lot. But you can end up getting a lot of MT from it as well. So I think Gauntlet was a really good idea. You need to touch up the gameplay with it. And some other ideas in terms of matchmaking. Actually, the matchmaking isn't too bad, where you'll get like a really shitty draft where you have a lot of bronzes, and you won't go up against diamonds. You'll usually go up against guys who have bad drafts too. So I think Gauntlet's actually pretty good for them. Now moving on to Domination and Historic Domination. I liked both of it a lot. I just wish that there was more rewards from getting it. I know that I didn't like the Jason Kidd card, but the Scottie Pippen card's actually really nice. But in terms of getting the players, I didn't think it was rewarding enough. I know you're guaranteed a silver, but the thing is, a lot of times you just pulled silver guys who you would never use. So I wish that there was more rewards and possibly more VC or MT or whatever rewarded for winning. So maybe once you get to like the top 5, you're guaranteed a gold on the teams. I know you're guaranteed gold for, I believe, like the the My Team and the 2 East and West teams. But I feel like that they should include a little bit more where you're guaranteed better players, because you're grinding forever and you only end up getting 2 amethysts guaranteed out of it. I feel like there should be a little bit more, but it's nothing too bad, and I do like the Historic Dominations. Now moving on to Road to the Playoffs. I haven't played too much of it. It's always been the same, and I have to say I like it for the most part. Of course, I don't play it once again because of my connection issues, but besides that, I think the whole idea is pretty good. I think the rewards look pretty nice. I haven't really gotten any real rewards besides the packs, but overall I think it's a really good idea and it works pretty well. Play with friends, once again, not really going to touch on it because I don't really play my team against my friends. I play usually against random people or challenges. So yeah, at least last time I played it was pretty fun and I liked it. Now going on to challenges, there's a lot of things in challenges, including the weekly challenges. I like the Road to the Finals. I just wish that all of them had a really good reward at the end, where recently they started putting guys who had good rewards, like the Dan Marley, Pau Gasol, not Jason Kidd, Tony Parker cards. All those are pretty good. I have the Pau and Dan Marley cards, and they're both really, really nice. I actually use them a lot. So I wish that all of them were better, but I think it's really worth it. It's really good for grinding out everything. Now, in terms of the challenges, I wish that there was an option where you didn't have to play versus challenges versus other people, because the thing is, sometimes a lot of people aren't going to do the very early on challenges after a while. So, for instance, say I want to do a challenge. I believe there's one called like a Silver Lining, where you have to have all silver players. By now, no one's going to do that because everyone already did it. Or the fact that it's really only worth, I think, like 1,500 MT, so it's not even worth your time. At least most of the time you can do harder challenges and get a lot more. So I wish that there was a way that it wasn't online. I think it was a good idea, but it just didn't work out as well because the lack of people doing some of the challenges, or just the fact that there's not enough rewards. Besides that, I believe there were like really good challenges this year. I liked it a lot. I liked those at the end of all of them. The what if challenges, I did a couple of them. I think I did the Paul George and the Curry one. I'm not positive, but I do like the idea a lot, and it actually works pretty well. So overall, I think challenges did pretty well this year. Now moving on to other stuff. The freestyle, my bad, I read that weird, but the freestyle I thought was really good this year, where you try out the players. It was always needed, and that was a great idea. I wish that there was a scrimmage mode as well that they could throw in there, but that was a really good idea too, so you don't have to use contracts, so you can try out your players. Now moving on to the black market, this just completely this flopped so early on. I remember when it first came out, I was like, holy shit, there's a black market, this is sick. But then like 3 days later, you're like, oh, this is pointless. Where you can get the Amethyst Brian Scalabrine, but at this point he's actually worthless because you can get much better power forwards for less than 500k. Of course, it's great to see Scalabrine with an Amethyst, but he's really just not even worth anything at this point. I feel like I don't know if he's on the market. I'm gonna actually check after I make this video. And everything else in there was really pointless. The snake ball, I believe, was like a really expensive ball, but it's just aesthetics. It doesn't really matter. There was, I believe, the diamond shoes where you would get like a +9 on something and it'd last forever in the diamond contract. Those are actually good ideas, but the whole idea of the black market really wasn't worth it because all those packs and all that stuff eventually just came out regularly, so that was just a huge waste. And the runes, it's a really good way to get people enticed, but it was just all empty. And moving on to the franchise part, I thought this is a great idea where you can make your own My Team completely. Gotta say 2K really did well at this part, and I have to give him an A for this if I had to grade it. Where you got to customize pretty much everything. I felt like it went really well. You can do almost anything you want, and it's really fun. So overall, great idea with the franchise thing. Now packs, pack luck is AIDS this year. I gotta say that. I wish that they'd increase pack luck a little bit. It's very... I don't know how to say it, but some people are very lucky, some people are very unlucky. Of course, that's the way it is in life. However, but it's crazy sometimes where I believe I packed Iverson, Kuzi, and Steph Curry. But you see people packing multiple diamonds like in a box, and that's ridiculous. Then you figure out pack luck a lot better. And yeah. And going on to the auction house, I think the auction house is pretty good. I just wish that there was more of a filter way where you can filter from price low to price high. It's automatically on time basis, but I wish there was more filters put in there. Besides that, I like the auction house a lot. It's a pretty good idea. I just wish that it wasn't a 10% deduction fee or 15%, however much it is. I just wish it was like FIFA and Madden where it's 5%, because I feel like that's a good amount to discourage transfers. 10% just feels like even selling some players isn't even worth it. Now going on to collection rewards, I thought this was a good idea where you don't only just throw in money, but you also throw in some pretty decent players. The only thing is I wish there was a little bit more, because currently I'm at 550 something cards, and I have to get 700 to get my next reward. I think they should divide up much more, because the thing is, it's really hard to get cards. It's exponentially harder, where early on you can get 40 cards almost instantly. I believe out of your first pack you can get close to 40 cards, but they just start piling on. It's really hard, so I wish that they would give you more rewards, but I like all the rewards you can get right now. Now moving on to my league, something I play pretty often as I do my rebuilding videos. I have to like it a lot. I just have to say that sometimes the trade logic is way off, where you'll see other teams trading like near nothing. They'll trade like a future first round pick and like a scrub for an all-star, and that's the thing that I find surprising, as well as the simulation speed is way too slow sometimes, so I need to figure out that too. But besides that, I have nothing really else to complain about my league. They did pretty well, especially since you can relocate and all that stuff. It's a good idea as well, so overall I think my league was a pretty good idea. Now finally I'm going to the soundtrack. That's the last thing that really matters about me, and I think the soundtrack this year was very, very good. Of course they had the equivalent of, I believe, 4 or 5 times as much as the regular year, but I think they should continue it. I was skeptical when they announced that there was going to be 3 people working on it, then there's going to be an international and an all-time, and I didn't know if that would work, but I think it worked out pretty well. Where I believe last year, 2 years ago, I know in 2K13 it was terrible, the soundtrack produced by Jay-Z, where he pretty much only put his own songs on there. It was terrible, but I think recently when they decided to add more and more people thinking about it, I think it went pretty well. As long as you don't have one single person choosing the soundtrack, I think it's a good idea. We're gonna have most people collaborating on it and thinking about who should be on there and what will work best. I think the more people you have on it and the more songs, the better it can be. So overall, I think the soundtrack was very good. I like a lot of the songs. The 2K throwback is a really nice touch, and all the different DJs and the international playlists all are pretty good. So for soundtrack for next year, I wish that there was a little bit more, basketball style hip hop back in early 2Ks or other games like NBA Street Volume 3. Maybe throw that into like an old school hip hop station. But I like the whole idea of stations and all that. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching, of course. I'll probably do another video on my career, my player, all that stuff in a little bit. I don't know how long from now, but eventually. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you watch this far. Comment down below what you have to say about 2K16. Reflection on it, what you want to see in 2K17. Subscribe for more 2K and NBA content. And, of course, share with your friends. Thank you guys for watching once again, and have a good day.